I'd just like to get back a little earlier. We discussed earlier. Tosas had asked the question. Rav Yosef says that the reason why the Beis Older, according to Beis Hillel, is muktzah is because Shem Yalav Yitlosh. Meaning, it's similar to a fruit falling off a tree on Shabbos and Yom Tov. You're not permitted to eat the fruit because we're concerned he may pick another fruit. So that's the reason why. So Tosas asks the question, what do we need? If this is the reason, there's a Gemara that says later that a non-Jew brought a gift on Yom Tov to an Amorah, and he would not take it. Because since that particular species grew within the Tchum, so there was a possibility he picked it on Yom Tov. And it says, that why didn't he benefit from it? Because it's muktzah. That since when Yom Tov began, he was attached to the tree, right? It was off limits to him. And we say, since it was muktzah at the entry point, it's muktzah for the duration. Right? What do we need that reason? Say, Shami Alav Yitlosh. You can't eat a fruit that was growing attached on Yom Tiv because you may pick another fruit. That was Tosas' question. What do we need that additional reason? Okay? So Tosas answered that maybe it's one like Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon rejects the concept of muktzah. Therefore, according to Reb Shimon, we need this other reason. Shemi Alav Yitlosh. That's what Tosas answered. So then he asked on Rashi, because Rashi himself explains over there, that if you could have picked the species before Yom Tov and you did not, it's the equivalent of what? Of putting figs and grapes on the roof to dry, which the Gemara says even Reb Shimon agrees there that it's muktzah. Because there's a state where it becomes inedible, and therefore since he put it in that position, it's off limits, even if it should become available. Okay? And Rashi says, since he could have picked the fruits, and he did not pick it, it's the equivalent of that. So we see clearly, it's even going like Reb Shimon. The Gemara over there is going like Reb Shimon, so we're back to the original question. What do we need that it should be grown with smukin, that it's muktzah because of that? The reason why it's not permitted is because you may pick the fruit. Right? That was his question. One second. Yeah. So Tosas answers that we're speaking about that the fruit was speaking about, it was the fruit that here we're speaking about. What about if you have a courtyard with fruit trees and the ravens pick the fruit off the trees? Right? So we have a principle, something that's not negated for animals or for birds is available to the person. Okay? So if that's the case, muktzah is not the issue. Muchan leklovim or muchan leorvim is muchan leodam. Right? So if that's the case, for muktzah, you'd be permitted to eat the fruit. Even though the fruit was attached at the entry point of Shabbos and Yom Tov, because the birds would have picked it. It was available to the birds, because to them there's no prohibition. So therefore we have to say, nevertheless, he's still not permitted. Why? Because you may pick another fruit. Even though it's not a muktzah issue, we don't want you to eat of that fruit because you may pick another fruit. Because muchan leorvin is muchan leodam. Okay? So now, I want to get to this point. He quoted Gemara Shabbos, so we're saying that something which is muchan lebehema, something which is prepared, is available to the behema, is available to the person. Because since the animal has no issa muktzah, right, it's available to the animal. Let's talk about the concept. Muchan lebehema is muchan lodam. Right? Why is muchan lebehema muchan lodam? Something that's available to the animal is muchan lodam. If we have, for instance, keeping this katzor ben hashmosh, factually, it's muktzah. Right? It's not so simple, this svara. What's the question? Two sides of the question. We have a principle. Normally, something that's muktzah at ben hashmosh is muktzah throughout the day. Something that was negated at one point is muktzah throughout the day. It's muktzah. So, but we say that since for the animal it was available, because the bird eats the fruit off the tree, so the fruits attached are considered not muktzah for me. Because since it's within the purview of the animal could eat it, therefore it's also available to me. What's exactly the lumbus?
Well, I think we said that it's only the food of Shimon to say this, because the food of Shimon, that's enough to take it out of Dachi B'Yadayim. It wasn't.
No, you said before, Egel Shnoldim in Atreifa, right? Everybody agrees over there that what? Nobody argues. The Vlad, right? If the mother's a treifa, and then you have a calf born on Yom Tif. So original one said if you have an egel born from a regular animal, that since you could slaughter but the mother you could have the calf, right? You see, the mother, the calf is part of the mother. So Gemara says, what about a treifa? If the mother was a treifa, so the mother is not available to you, and you're not even permitted to slaughter the mother, correct? So if that's the case, the vlad, the egel that's born, should be nolad, should be muktzah, right? That question is even according to Rabbi Yehuda permits it, and nobody argues. Everybody agrees. Egel shnoldim in atreifa, that it's not muktzah. The Gemara asked that question according to everybody.
Everybody agrees it is permitted.
It's permitted. So why is it permitted? If the mother, you're not permitted to slaughter the mother. So Gemara said, what is the value of the mother? Dog food. It's a treifa, right? A Jew's not permitted to eat it. So it's muchan leklovim. So something that's available to dogs is available to a human being. Meaning, since it's not classified as muktzah for the animal, it's not muktzah for the person. Okay? But something which is muktzah for a person is muktzah, something which is its values for a person, he will not give to a dog. Right? Well, let's talk about it. Muchan leklov and smuchan l'adam. Why? Factually, you couldn't slaughter the mother because it was a treifa. And now the egel is born from something that's not available to you. But we say no because it's no different than the mother. And the mother, since it's available to klovim, it's available to you.
But it's prohibited specifically to trade.
No, but the provision is dietary law provision. But in terms of its classification, it's not classified as muktzah. For dogs, a dog.
He was saying that even if Rabbi Yehuda, the Maisa, this, we're talking about the trefa, it wasn't discussed with the Nashmashis. It wasn't. It was Lamaisa more than the clothing. Like we said before, you could, pet food. It's pet food. You have a dog, you could pet with it. You were more than prepared to take this trefa and give it to your dog. So this whole thing is not muktzah. Something came out of it. Okay, so that's the whole thing. It came out of something that's mukha. So there's no problem. It didn't start out Shabbos in the state of mukha. It's noilid, so maybe that's why Rav over there says it's also here too, I guess we're saying payers. Oh, it's the off limits too. It's katzoi. No, it's not katzoi. It was mukha to one of your pets. That's good enough.
See, according to Reb Shimon, wait. According to Reb Shimon doesn't hold kivin. Something's muktzah ben hashmoshes, right? He doesn't hold of it at all.
In any of these cases.
Any case, he doesn't hold it. Something that's muktzah ben hashmoshes, that will determine its status throughout the day. Okay. So the animal is a treifa, and it gives birth to what? It gives birth to an egel, kosher egel. You could slaughter the egel. So we say that since the mother is not muktzah, why? It's because it's classified as dog food. You give it as dog food. So therefore, the egel is part of that classification. It's not muktzah. It's part of the mother. Because even the egel could be given as dog food when it was in the mother, right? 1 second. See, the way I understand the question was, according to Rashi, that you didn't pick it, is an indication dachi b'yadayim. Right? That's what was dachi. It's as if you negated it. That shows you had no interest. You could have, and you did not, shows you had no interest. So we're answering, what about if you have a chotzer, we have orvim. You have ravens picking it. So you'd say maybe the reason why you didn't pick it So the non-picking is not a negation. Why is it not a negation? Because the birds could eat it. It's not a negation. Because the birds could eat it.
I mean, it's certainly easier to say, for instance, the Lashon that we said yesterday, that Ilui died. As we said, there's Shin, there's two Lashonis high.
Right, right.
So certainly there you could say, of course he had Ilui died, because he had the Ilui died that
Right.
is Mukhal order, and if it becomes right to me, I'll eat it. He had an element of Das. But even according to the Lashon, I think we could say, like you're saying, I think we could say that he didn't, it's not Dachi B'dayim, he reserved it for another purpose. He's not Dafki, he doesn't, it's a little harder to say it, right? Because for him, he's Dachi B'dayim. He knows that, he can't pick it on Shabbos, so for him it's Dachi B'dayim. But
no, so you have to say it has to be.
The first lesson is very good.
No, but it has. No, what I'm saying, it has to be a dachi b'yadayim, even the other way, that it's fully negated for me. But since it's muchan la'orvim, that means it has relevance to me. We'd say something that's fit for human consumption, you don't feed to your animal. So when he put the grapes and the figs on the roof, that's for him and for nobody else. And he put it in a setting that it may become inedible. And there, the animal doesn't come into the picture. So you negated it from food to be edible. So there, it's muktzah.
But the ravens could have eaten it off the roof.
No. It's inedible. But he doesn't want. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. They can't. They will not eat it. It's not edible. It's not edible. They'll eat off the tree. This is because it's like oozing all kinds of fluids in the process. So I'm saying, to be muktzah according to Reb Shimon, it has to be at a level that it's negated, that it loses its status as food. Food, period. Food. It's not functional. It has to be negated to that. It's off limits at every level. Anything that's not negated to that degree is not muktzah. Because Reb Shimon, anyways, is a more lenient position of muktzah. Right? So something that's negated to the person, that has no relevance to me, period, that's muktzah. But if you hold it's muchan l'klovim, that an animal could eat it, it's not even fully negated. Once it's not fully negated, therefore it's not muktzah, according to Reb Shimon. Right?
So he permits the guy who picked the fruit that's presumably picked on Yontif?
He doesn't permit it. He doesn't permit it.
It was available to an animal to eat. The muktzah doesn't have relevance to the guy who picked it.
No, simply doesn't have relevance to the bird. Tosa said it's speaking about a specific case where the ravens could have picked the fruit.
Yeah, and I think from Aharon here says that it's talking about when is it muktzah, when it's somebody owns birds. It's only when you have your own birds, to you it's not muktzah. There by the guy, yes, true, any bird could eat it, any fruit of the tree, but that's not enough to get it out of the
This is the marshal. This is the
Maharam.
or the maram.
Next time it says Mukhla or Mukhla Adam, he says that it's that he has the Balabais in our case. He has ravens, so he's happy for them. He's happy for them to eat it. That's enough to take it out of them.
No,
But
see
in
that.
general,
No.
the
That's very good. That's good. Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. That's exactly what we're explaining it.
But I think he's
Because
asking
no.
why
But that's exactly what I'm saying. According to Reb Shimon, if it's negated, it has to be fully negated from a food item. This is not. He wants the ravens to eat it, so he didn't negate this. He values it as a food item. Once he values it as a food item, it's not muktzah, according to Reb Shimon. Maybe according to Reb Yehuda, maybe it is. Maybe it is muktzah, according to Reb Yehuda.
Why would everybody go through?
No, so exactly. No, but I'm saying it's only because of that. Ravens just picking it. How does that make it muchan? He has no interest in that. In his mind, he doesn't want them to eat it, so he's not willing to offer it to them, right? So therefore, when he negated it, not picking means he wants it to be all his for nobody else but himself, right? See, he's making a statement. This, I have no relevance to this for the next 24 hours. If you made that statement, it should be muktzah. So just because the ravens eat it, so what? And he knows they eat it. But I said I want it to be off limits for 24 hours. But let's say he wants the ravens to eat it because he owns the ravens, so he doesn't want to be off limits for 24 hours. He wants the ravens to eat it. Right? It's classified as a food item. But the question is, what about according to Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda holds a muktzah. Are we going to say, maybe we'll say that maybe he wouldn't, maybe muktzah leklovim would be muktzah l'adam according to Rabbi Yehuda.
The Sfasam says that this Mukhal is only good enough to put it in the Torah. He's the one who can hold it. Given his lenient standards by Muktzah, it's just this is enough to get at it. But the Yehuda, it's in different rights.
No, because you can hear even according to Rabbi Yehuda, because Ben Hashmashos, it was also, I mean, he wanted his ravens. Rabbi Yehuda's whole concept is keeping the skatzoi. Rabbi Yehuda says whatever's muktzah at the entry point remains muktzah. At the entry point, he wanted ravens to eat also off the tree, right? He also wanted them to eat off the tree. So okay, so keeping the skatzoi doesn't apply. I mean, so you could hear it even according to even Rabbi Yehuda. I'd like to know what the rhymes are that he doesn't hold of it.
I think it's because the sugyas this mashma that we pass them, we don't hold it. So
And you have nobody to attribute it to.
right.
So it has to be Rabbi Yehuda.
Right. That's his base. I actually have a copy of this for some mistake.
Okay. Okay, let's go further in Tosas. Okay, he asked the question to Gemara in Shabbos. You see it. A person can take to graze on grass that's still growing, but not grass that's muktzah. What's muktzah? What's the reason? We don't suspect the person will take the grass and tear it out of the ground, put it in his animal's mouth, because this is the raisa. What about something which is only strabonon, like muktzah? Let's say it was picked on, the grass was detached on Shabbos. There, because only strabonon, there's a chance if he lowers his animal's mouth to there, he may pick it up, put it in his animal's mouth. So there's a chance that he's going to engage in muktzah. Therefore, he's not permitted. Only ala mechuber. If it's still growing, we allow him to take the animal, put its mouth down to the ground itself. But if muktzah, not. Avdala muktzah pirish asabim shenitvu mitchlei. And what's muktzah? They were detached today. V'mai havim muchan lebehema. They be boy ochlam in nafsho. Right? The animal could have, like, similar to the ravens. So why should it be muktzah? If we're saying muchan lebehema is not muchan, is muchan la'odam. Right? So since this grass could have been eaten by the animal, like similar to the ravens, so why is it muktzah? And if you would touch it, it wouldn't be muktzah.
This is grass that's attached to the ground.
No, it says grass that is attached to the ground. He could take the animal to graze there.
On Shabbat.
On Shabbos.
I mean, the animals need it on its own. You just take that.
Maybe yes, maybe no. He takes it to a location, and the animals can eat it.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's not clever.
Right.
He's not feeding the animal. He's just the
Right?
animal
But usually during the week, sometimes he'll tear it out and put it in the animal's mouth.
Right.
Shabbos and Yom Tov, you don't have to worry about that, because it's mechuber.
It's interesting. Shema Yal V'Yiddish. I mean, like, why don't we say this?
Shama Yel Yoshimel is when you benefit personally.
Tosfos will say that.
That's Yalav Yidlosh, an animal not. Okay? But if it's detached, it's muktzah. So it's muktzah is only Yisrabonon. So we're more concerned he may actually engage with muktzah. Therefore, we don't want him to eat the animal to graze over something that already was cut. Sitos says when was it cut? It was cut on Shabbos. That's why it's muktzah. Sitos says. But since the animal could have detached it itself, similar to the raven, and that's the cause to say it's not muktzah, so why over there is it muktzah? Right? We're talking about grazing land, grazing fodder. So it's not muktzah.
By the same premise, just like here we said, the
Who
food.
cuts this grass? I mean,
It got cut. Somebody cut it. It detached itself.
The goy. They're talking about the goy cut.
Whoever cut it.
Yes, they're discussing different things that the goy does. They can be back. But it got detached on Shabbos, so there's more of the question. It says it's muktzah. But it's why is it muktzah? It was available and ready for the animal to consume it. And we're saying over here, just like the ravens can consume it because it's attached to a tree, that removes it from the status of muktzah to the person. There too, the fact that the animal could have, eaten of this grass even while it's attached, should remove it from status of muktzah for the owner also.
I was just
it's not
thinking.
edible to the person.
I was just thinking. I was just
Yeah.
thinking.
The person.
I was just thinking.
It's still useful.
If we say muchan la'orivim, it's muchan la'adam, and we said because, right? Because the bird will detach it, right? If a goy cut this, let's say I know every week goyim go and cut grass, and they leave the grass cut in the field, and it's available, right? So why is it muktzah? I mean, right? They cut it. I knew it was going to be cut. I knew it was going to be cut. Even though Ben Hashmoshes it wasn't cut, I knew it was going to be cut. Why not?
Certainly for the Yehuda,
No, I'm not going. I'm going to Reb Shimon. According to Reb Shimon, I'm not going to Reb Yehuda. Right? According to Reb Shimon, I know it's going to be cut. Why? The halacha is you're not permitted to benefit from Melechas Shabbos. So I would say the reason why you can't, it's muktzah, you can't benefit. The goy, what about if the goy did it on his own behalf?
That's what it's talking
Well, that's what I'm saying. See, if he did it on his own behalf, you could benefit from it. One second. But by, what's his name? But maybe there's an issue of what? Maybe there's a Shemiyal Yitlosh before, at this point. Right? Just as we say, if a fruit falls off the tree on Shabbos, by itself you can't eat it, or you have to, of course you may pick another one. So if he had the guy cuts it on Shabbos, why are they concerned that maybe the Jew, if he feeds the animal that, he'll cut more? Similar to, at this point, similar to what? To the picking another fruit.
Right, but the Gemara there clearly says that the reason why the allow is muktzah. If you look at the Gemara, it's Rashi says it's the same swallow, even the doctor Vietnam, it's the same. So Tosh is asking literally, I just that Mukhla takes you away from that problem, and there's more Shabbos L'Kiddush. It is a problem.
Little difficulty with the Marsha, with the Maram, that he wanted the animals to eat. He wanted the ravens to eat. That's the reason why it's Muchan L'Adam. It's Muchan L'Orvim, right? That's what he said. Since he wanted the ravens to eat off the tree, that's how he feeds his ravens. Therefore, the fruit on the tree is classified as what? As not muktzah. Because for the ravens, available. Okay? Let's say we talk about it, it's B'trei Avri D'Dahara. Well, I understand. Even he said, Tosas answers, it's speaking where the grass wasn't available to the, what's his name? Wasn't available to the animal. Right? Because it wasn't available to the animal, that's the reason why it's not Muchan the Behemah.
You said yesterday it's behind a fence or something.
It's behind the fence. Therefore, it wasn't available. So when did it become available? On Shabbos or on Yom Tov. That's the reason why it's Muktzah. Because at the entry point of Shabbos, it was what? It wasn't available, or even maybe Dach B'Yadayim, according to Reb Shimon, right? Which is difficult. Why? Because factually, if I know I could take it there on Shabbos, right, and I don't hold keeping this gatzoi, so my not picking is not indication that it's Dach B'Yadayim. Right? Something that's Muchan L'Odam, right? Like, let's say, grapes, which I don't feed normally to an animal. So you could say there, that I didn't pick it is considered Dach B'Yadayim. But over here with the grass, right? That I didn't pick it at the entry point, I didn't have to pick it. It was available to the animal. Right? According to Reb Shimon.
So you're saying you think he would allow it? Shimon would allow it or would not allow it?
See, it should be allowed.
Maybe to allow it means that you don't know if you could cross the fence or the river. I mean, we're limiting the case more, but maybe it's.
But something presented itself later that initially he wasn't available.
Yeah, like it's on the other side of the river. A ferry came. Oh, now I can come across. But I'm saying we're reading into Tosfos to answer our question, but it's. Becomes more and more limited.
Something availed itself. Something wasn't availed itself.
Like it's Midei Shamayim. You don't know. Not quite like that.
See, but it's difficult. What was available to me, and I don't do that, Dach B'Yadayim. Right? But what the animal could have is what is not Muktzah. Because Muchan L'Adam, Muchan L'Beim is Muchan. Wait. So now something presents itself, which originally wasn't available. But then the question is, how's the dachim yadayim? So you have to say the other svara daite aluya. You can't say it's negation. It's like a nolad. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean,
We had two understandings of why grocers smukim is muktzah. Is it because he didn't have his mind on it, or is it because he negated it? To understand the animals that came in from the desert. Over there, he never negated it. He just wasn't aware they were going to come in. So if you say dach b'daim, it's because you're not aware when it's going to happen. So same thing. You weren't aware. But if you say that you need negation to make a muktzah according to Reb Shimon, there he never negated it. He didn't put the animals out in the midbar, right? The animals in the midbar.
Maybe who literally say that he's with his animal on one side of the river and the grass is the other. The animal, I think what this is saying, the animal on its own
Couldn't get it.
can't get it.
But could he get it?
Yes, so in other words, I'm modifying.
That's what you have to say. You have to say he could have and he chose not to.
He could have taken the animal somehow over the river.
Wait a second. Wait a minute. If he couldn't have, that's not dach b'yadayim either.
Right, that's what we
Wait a second. And if he could have,
If
wait.
the animal-
Even the animal couldn't have. He'd have to take it. Again, it's not dach b'yadayim.
It is.
I could decide to take it tomorrow.
No, the fact that you're not taking it and the animal could have gotten it, so...
Well, me not taking is the right. I could take the animal. I can't. If I don't pick something, that's an indication that I've chosen not to.
But I guess what we're saying is it has to be mucham the behemoth ben l'shmoshes.
Why? According to Rav Shimon. But why does that have to be Rav Shimon? We're talking about Rav Shimon here. Rav Shimon doesn't know keep this katzoi. According to Rabbi Yehuda, I hear it. According to Rav Shimon, why? Right? The whole story started with what? With Rav Shimon. Even Rav Shimon knows dachim yadayim. Right? It's difficult. What about Traver and Nav Monavshach? If I never knew it existed, then it's midborius. Unless, so you have to say that Rav Shimon knows midborius is gross and smoking. The two terutzim. See, no, so I'm saying so the first teretz in Traver and Nav is going according to that teretz in the Gemara.
The whole child is
Daita aluya. And here, because it didn't, Traver, he wasn't aware. He wasn't aware. So it's not Daita aluya.
That is easier.
No, it's not really. It's not the equivalent of ropes and smoker. Ropes and smoker is more extreme. Daita aluya, ropes and smoker, he's not aware when it's going to become available. So the emphasis is not the dachya, it's the Daita aluya. Okay. Now maybe we'll understand what the other teretz is. 1 second. Man should have it in there. OJ Shlomad Loshach Muchan Lorvim. 1 second. Loshach Muchan Orvim Rak Bepersa Ilon Shemagil Lahashmi Atzmon. Umitzapa Lekach. Here's Elon Shevagila Lahashim Yatzma.
First guy seems like he's saying, either you don't have to say that's 2 minutes, so it's 7, or maybe he's Bob Babu about it. Maybe he's saying it's not a good enough teretz because of the reasons we were saying before, right? We have to say that it's only that Louis teretz. So he says, I'll make you another shuluk. Why there by the grass is in muktzah, and over here it's not. The differentiating element is that over here, all the Yoshim Tzavah, because these are types of things that fall the derech teva, and they normally fall, so it enables us to say, oh, the
This is what I'll answer. I'll answer the way I understand it. The Gemara says if you have an animal that's a treifa, the calf you could eat. Why? Because since the mother is muchal l'klavim, there's no question that animal's muchal l'klavim, right? The fruits that are growing on the tree, do you know which fruit the raven's going to eat? You don't know which ones it's going to eat. So let's say the ones that it eats, fine. But what if it's the ones that fall off by themselves? Are you permitted to eat it? Are you permitted? What is that? Is that also muchal l'orvim?
It was.
Well, I understand that. Muchal l'orvim means whichever one. He doesn't want the orvim to eat all the what's his names. He doesn't want them to eat. They're not going to eat up. What he's eat all of them.
He doesn't care. It's like, whichever ones you eat. Like all of them. All of them are available to you. I mean, that's pet. So okay, he's designated. He's okay in his mind. It's
Muchal l'orvim. The shach muchal l'orvim only persin because it's yoshev mitzapeh.
He basically is adding this nikuda. That at least the marshal and the parshas are from places that he's adding that we must say that in order for us to get out of the muktzah status, we need both elements. Not just it's muchal l'orvim, whatever. There's also this element of...
So that was the difficult. How do you combine the two? How do you combine the two?
How or what?
How? How do you combine the two?
Well, I think
Yosh mitzapeh. According to
to
Reb Shimon, Yosh mitzapeh should be enough.
That's the concept. It's
Right.
not how you combine, it's why.
No, that's why. How do you combine it?
How?
If Yosh mitzapeh is it by itself, so what is muchal l'orvim add? You don't need it.
And more than that, since we know Reb Shimon holds of it, and since I said the Maniac going this is a separate terrace, and Tosis himself is mashma and another part, why is Tosis even bother muchal l'orvim terrace? It's like it's problematic terrace for many reasons.
Yep. So what about Nochi Shivi Doron? Why isn't that? Why also? It's Yoshim Mitzapeh.
Yeah, I was bothered by that. I mean,
We said if the goy brings you fruit, you can't eat it because it's muktzah. Because that he didn't pick it, that's called the negation, right? The Jew didn't pick it. The species was within the tchum, so in his mind he could have picked that species. It could have been available before Yom Tov, and he chose not to. So we say that you chose not to. That means that's called the negation. You've negated it. It was within your ability to take, and you chose not to. That's negation. That means that you negated it, right? The Gemara says this. This is where Rashi learns. So I'm saying, but we're saying now that something that falls by itself, a person weights that. So that seemingly offsets why I didn't do it. Why didn't I do it? Because it falls by itself. It's Meisha Me'atzman.
right, so I think so certainly with the marshal.
Since it falls by, that's the reason why I didn't pick it. Why should I pick it? The apples will fall off by themselves.
Well, if he picks it, it's a biblical prohibition.
No. Before. I should have picked it before Shabbos, before Yom Tov. Since I didn't pick it, therefore that's an indication that I'm not interested. I said no. Tosha says now by the fruits of the tree, like by the ravens, he's waiting for it to fall off the tree. He's waiting for it because it naturally falls off the tree. So if that's right, so now let's get back to Nochi Shevi Doron. The case where the guy brings the gift to the Jew. So why over there is it muktzah? The reason why he didn't pick it is because it falls by itself. So maybe you'll have to differentiate the different kinds of fruits, which is a dochik.
Well,
The reason he didn't pick what? He didn't pick the fruit?
The fruit before Yom Tiv is because the fruit would have fallen off by itself.
But he had in mind to have it.
But he had in mind to happen. He had in mind to have it. That's what Tosha is saying. Why by the ravens is it not muktzah? Lo shayach muchan la'orif. Let's say, let's talk about it after. Rak persa ilon shiragilin. He's speaking persa ilon shiragilin. Not all persa ilon regilin. There is fruits of the tree that normally fall off by themselves. Those fruits are not muktzah. But there are other fruits that don't fall off by themselves that easily. They have to be picked. So the non-picking is a negation.
Well, I think he's saying general pears because most pears
No, he says rak beper se'ilon
in contrast.
sheregilin l'hosher.
In
There are two ways to read Tosfos.
Right, I hear that. In contrast to grass.
That's if it's going back on grass.
Right. That's the
It's
parshas,
going
right?
back. It could be going back in the Shevi Doron.
Right. Well, that's the right. So certainly now, if he's going Shevi Doron, and then we're presenting it as separate parents that over here it's holding us mitzvah, over there it's not, then you have to say by Doron, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, why? It also like by Doron, it's not his. By Nochashiv Doron, it's not his. Like
Yeah, but Rashi says does make his or not. Since he could have picked and he chose not to.
I don't know how this would.
See, if you read it the way I'm reading it, rak beper se'ilon sheregilin l'hosher.
Yeah, I mean, then you basically making really feel like that, and he will, by the way, make that feel like in that shlach. He will say worse than that.
Yeah. That's
No,
but he asked that as a new question.
Right.
Avotemi kain kaven the time or lomali time of the kamon.
Yeah, if it's a separate pair, it's only mission separate. After why by not pushing the door and why always say this is other mission separate. Again, can you say no? Can you say only mission
1 second.
on something that's not his?
I think this is the combination. The concept of muchan le'orvim is muchan le'odom is not so simple. Even according to Reb Shimon. Yet, Norman. Just because something, a raven could pick it off the tree, right? But factually, if I would have wanted it for myself, I couldn't have it for myself. I have no relevance to it. I mean, because for the animal it's available, therefore it's available to me. But it wasn't available for me to give to them. You have dog food you could feed to the animal. Understand? The thing growing on the tree when Shabbos began, I couldn't have given to the raven. The raven could pick it itself, but I couldn't have given. So in terms of myself, right, I never had in mind that is available to me. Right? Whatever the raven picks, it picks. Whatever it doesn't pick, it doesn't pick. Right? So therefore, as a result of that, in terms of myself, it's off limits because I have no relevance to it. You understand what I'm saying? The raven could pick off the tree. See, if you have the animal, no, let me explain it. When I have the animal, which is a treifa on Yom Tov, I could give this animal to a dog to eat even alive. It could eat the treifa, to eat even alive. So at the entry point throughout this animal is dog food. So if I could feed it to dog, I take it for myself. That's why it's not muktzah. But what's attached with the raven...
It's prohibited to you, so you negated it.
No, on Yom Tov. You're talking about Yom Tov. Yom Tov, if I want to take a cow that's treifa and let dogs eat it alive, is it a problem? It's not a problem. So that means it's like taking dog food, giving it to a dog. So if I want to take that dog food and eat it myself, it's not for dietary problems. You could eat it, right? It's not muktzah. It's not a muktzah issue. But what about the fruit on the tree? The ravens themselves could eat it. So if they could, what does that do with me? But what about the fruit that they don't eat, and that fruit falls off the tree? Right. So why is that not muktzah? The answer is because you also have the additional svar of Yosha Mitzapeh. Because since these fruits, it's not unlikely that they fall off by themselves. We're saying two things. They fall off by themselves. They do fall off by themselves. So the question is, well, why is that enough? What do we need Muchan L'Orvin? Right? So if that's the case, he's a Yosha Mitzapeh. According to Reb Shimon, he's waiting to fall off, so it was never negated. No, and it's separate. No, for sure.
No, I'm saying
Okay.
that could be the